G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildcard. Thank you for the privilege to entertain you for the next 15-20 minutes. Today we're looking at Wallabies versus Sir Eddie and his men from England in the Decider July Test Series 2021 Internationals Super Extravaganza Sydney Cricket Ground Showdown. Sir Eddie is prepared to, it's a decider. The English came out with a pretty good performance last week. Pummeled the Wallabies for the first half. Really dominated the Wallabies in the physicality. And then, just closed out the game in the second half. Managed it quite well with that experience, with that kicking game. And, Wallabies kind of tried to make a comeback in the second half, but it was a bit too late. So, going to third test. A lot of changes for the Wallabies team. England forced to make a couple of changes due to injuries. Big names are missing out in this game. And, some stuff before the game. Sir Eddie is not happy that he's not getting enough media attention. We know how good he is with the media. He likes to troll the media a little bit, gets everyone a little bit, wired up, gets a little bit triggered, gets a bit of a hashtag going on Twitter. No, he didn't get much of that this season. I was actually wondering, where's the Eddie Jones trolling? Where are the clickbaits? No clickbaits from Eddie Jones. So he came out with this. He's disappointed about the media coverage, and he's saying that, maybe a bit envious of the State of Origin game on Wednesday night. He wants rugby to follow suit and get a bit more coverage. Yeah, I feel you, Eddie. I feel you. He basically pointed out the obvious that rugby could be dying in Australia. Yeah, Eddie Jones not happy. Basically, it's still sold out. SCG, sorry. I don't know what you're talking about, Eddie. We're doing a great job here, mate. And so, he's saying he's a bit disappointed. And also, another thing he kind of talked about, and that kind of perked my interest a little bit, is that Paul Williams is going to be the referee for this game. So, Paul Williams is a Kiwi referee. So, we might see a few penalties that are not carded, because Paul Williams is, pretty sure he's a Kiwi. If I'm wrong, then, oh well. So he's the Kiwi referees tend to be more lenient on these penalties. So we're gonna see we could potentially see a very physical game. And so Eddie Jones pointed out that he's really harsh on rolling away. That is actually true. We saw that a bit in Super Rugby. He's really tough on the breakdowns, and but I think most importantly he's kind of easy on the penalties. So we shall see how that goes. Whether that's gonna play an advantage to either teams, not too sure. But we shall see. The England, obviously, two of the biggest players missing out in this game. Mario Itoje and, what's his name? Mario Itoje and, what's his name? Number 7. I know his name. Let's cheat a little bit, okay? Mario Itoje and Sam Underhill are both out due to HIA. Wallabies has a few injuries themselves and a few changes in the back line. So basically, Scott Seo is out due to an injury, I'm pretty sure. Isaiah Peresi hurt his leg. James O'Connor is out, not from injury, he's just not selected. Jake Gordon also being replaced. Jordi Pataya, concussion, he's out. And Caden Neville, I think he's got a leg injury. But Neville is out as well. So Wallabies, big changes across the board for the team. The weather is going to be pretty good tomorrow. It has been a bit raining throughout the week, but it's going to be nice and dry for Sydney Cricket Ground. Maybe a little bit of a wet conditions, bit of a dew on the ground, but overall, this should be as good as you can get on a wintry night in Sydney. And so let's have a look at the lineup. What are some of the changes for both teams? So big changes for the Australian packs. The physicality in the first half on the forwards really wasn't there in the Wallabies, and it was like England really managed to dominate the Wallabies with that physicality, leading to a lot of points essentially. So Wallabies has made some changes. Some of these changes are due to injuries, obviously, but I think the biggest one, James Slipper coming off the bench, bringing that more experience, that more stability off the bench at that loose head position, coming up at number 1. Dave Parecki retains his spot at number 2. Daniel Tupou he scored the only try in the first half. Only one who kind of brought that physicality a little bit. But I did feel like his scrummaging was struggling a bit. He has been injured for quite a bit for the last, I think, like a month or so. He hasn't really played much rugby. And yeah, that scrummaging, Ellis Genge really had him quite badly in that in the second test. I felt like it was, yeah, he was not really showing that dominance, and Ellis Genge looking to be like boring into him a little bit. So something to do with maybe his technique he needs to work on. We shall see how he goes this week. England unchanged in the front rows. Ella Genge number 1, Jamie George number 2, Will Stewart number 3. Like I said, they did really well last week on the Australian side. Maybe Jem Slipper coming off will stabilize the scrum a little bit, but we have to see how that goes. In the locking positions, Nick Frost coming off the bench due to the injury to Caden Nevels. Matt Phillip drops down a number to number 5 on that lock position. Ollie Chisholm moves up on the bench for England. Again, these are just basically injuries. Ollie Chisholm was coming off the bench last week. Johnny Hill retains his spot at number 5. Harry Wilson, a new addition to the Wallabies at number 6. I actually thought he probably deserved a start a few weeks earlier. I thought Rob Leota, whilst he's fine, I do feel like Harry Wilson brings more physicality for the Wallabies team, something that kind of lacked a little bit. I really showed like last week, they really lacked that little physicality. Harry Wilson brings that physicality, and he has that, confidence and presence about himself as well. So he brings a bit of leadership quality into the 4-pack with a bit more mongrel. So yes, Harry Wilson, I'm really happy for him to get the number 6 jersey, and also he's that third line option as well for the Wallabies. Really good to see him here. Courtney Lawes, his matchup against Courtney Lawes, probably the best. One of the best players in England's side. Again, another lock at the number 6. He's probably like the best lock in England, despite the fact that Eddie Jones has him at number 6. He's really good at the lock in the scrummaging, and he's also really good lining executioner. So he's probably, like the best lock, maybe second best to, I don't know. He might be, he and Itoje would be like the best 2 locks in England, but he gets number 6 jersey once again for the England side. Michael Hooper, number 7, again, he was ran over by Jamie George early in the game. And physicality. Got to bring in this game. Mike Hoops. Hooper I thought he has developed quite a bit in recent times. But last week, I think his leadership needed to step up a little bit. It really took the Wallabies, way too long to respond to the England's physicality. And Hoops, maybe could have done a bit more there. Lewis Lutnam gets caught up to number 7 jersey from the bench from the number 20. So England is lacking that critical experience in the back row a little bit. I do feel like maybe they have neglected some of the bigger names. Like I think Sam Simmons is injured, but I thought maybe this would be a good time to have that other guy from the Harlequins. What's his name? I can't remember the big number 8 guy. But anyway, I feel like England may be a little bit thin in their reserves in the 4-pack this week as a result of the HIA injuries. Rob Valentini gets number 8 position. He's up against Billy Vinapola. This would be a huge game for him without Itoje, and he has to really step up quite a bit at the number 8 spot. Underhill, without Underhill and Itoje, number 8, he's going to be really important this week. Needs a huge game from Billy, and Billy hasn't played for England for quite a while as well. So this is an opportunity for him to solidify himself as that number 8 for England going to the World Cup. So the back line, very few changes for both teams. Nick White returns number 9 jersey. The Jack Van Porvier, or whatever his last name is, gets dropped to the bench. Danny Kerr moves back up from the start. So Eddie Jones' explanation for the change is that Danny Kerr has a higher tempo that he likes. I did feel like Van Porvier had a really good tempo in the first half. He played quite well. Like that England line speed and everything was really good. I really don't understand how he thought for Van Porvier was slower in the tempo. I thought it's more like the other way around. So I'm really a little bit, I'm not sure what Eddie Jones saw. I do feel like the youngster is probably a better option here at number 9. I'm a little bit confused by the decision here. Regardless, Noah Lolosio gets number 10 jersey again. Marcus Smith gets number 10 for the England side. Marika Korombedi, number 11. Tommy Freeman, number 11, unchanged. Samuel Karevi, number 12. Owen Farrell, number 12. I do feel like Samuel Karevi, I was expecting him to be more of a nuisance to Owen Farrell, just with the physicality. It really hasn't shown that, to be honest. I really thought that he will be breaking those gang lines a bit more like he did last year against the Springboks. Really didn't show that well. So So England obviously had a plan going into neutralizing him, and it's been working out quite well. He has some pretty hard running, but not to the extent that he had achieved last year against the Springboks, for example. Hunter Paisami showed a lot of physicality last week. He's the one that put out Mauro Itoje. Itoje went into tackle him and basically looked like he ran into a brick wall. Yeah, and Itoje knocked himself out essentially, and that's why he's not playing this week. Paisami, physicality, 100% extremely good. I do want to see him do a little bit more kicking game. I do feel like his kicking game for the Reds has been improving quite a bit. And with Karevi already being that dominant ball carrier, I feel like Paisami, because usually the Wallabies have like Leng Ikitiao do the kicking from the 13th spot anyway. I do feel like Paisami could probably show a little bit more of that when the opportunity presents itself. Guy Porter gets a 13 jersey for England. Tom Wright, number 14, comes in for the Wallabies. And Jack Noll, once again for England, at number 14. So in the fullback position, the Jody Patea gets knocked out last week. So Reece Hodge gets called up to the starting position after not even making the team. Yeah, Reece Hodge completely missed out on the Wallabies selection and played for the Wallabies A and lost to Samoa in the first week. And so just due to injuries to Tom Banks, Tom Banks and Jody Patea, Reece Hodge is back in the starting position for the Wallabies. To be fair, I don't think Reece Hodge is a bad player. His execution for the club rugby is a little bit messy. He was penalised. It was a little bit penalty prone. I can see that's one of the reasons why the coaches are kind of like easing up a bit on him. But I do feel like he still has that drive and that energy that he brings to the team. I do think that he probably deserved a spot in the Wallabies anyway in the first place. Maybe not a starting position initially. He just needs more time to kind of like tidy up his game a little bit more. But I think he's going to be okay at 15. He's very good under the high ball. A huge boot, not to mention, which means that his kicking game could be a big factor here for the Wallabies in terms of edging out England for the difference here. So we'll have to wait and see. This is a bit of a selection like unknown here. I do feel like his poor performance in club rugby is probably to do with his club. Not really 100% his fault. Like just playing around players that are really poor, really kind of like lets himself down a little bit as well. I feel like he kind of felt victim to that a little bit, but I think his overall skill set is there, and I'm keen to see how he starts this weekend. So on the bench, big changes for both teams. But the Wallabies has changes all around. So Angus Bell gets dropped to the bench. I thought Angus Bell did have a bit of scrum issue in the first half. Something needs to be done. So maybe hide him a little bit in the bench is a good decision. Alan Atoa returns from HRA, gets a spot at the reserve bench, number 18 jersey. Unchanged front rowers for the England side. Lukau and Dickey, Mako Vinapola, and Joey Hayes gets the propping positions and the hooker for the England side. Rob Leota gets dropped to the bench to the 19 jersey, while Nick Isekev gets called back into the England side at number 19. He started a bit for England at the number 5 jersey for the Six Nations, and then he kind of fell out of favour again for Eddie Jones. He gets the bench spot this weekend for the 19 jersey. P. Samu, the best finisher for the Australian side, on the number 20 jersey. I really probably want to see him like a start, maybe. I thought they probably would have started him over Harry Wilson, having Harry Wilson coming off the bench, because Harry Wilson is really good off the bench as well. But this is how the coach decided. They think that P. Samu is still the best finisher for the Wallaby side. So on the 20 jersey there, Jack Willis bumps up the spot to 20. He was 21 jersey last week. So there is a big change in the England reserves this week as well. Most likely due to injuries. England did play 6 forwards, 2 backs last week, and that may be one of the reasons why they came out more physical for the entire duration of the game. But this week, maybe just due to injuries, they're not afforded the luxury to have an extra forward on the bench again. So they have going back to the traditional 5-3 setup for the England side. Tate Mcdermott comes in, called into up from the Australia A team to the number 21 jersey. I actually felt Tate Mcdermott probably deserved a run at the starting spot at some point of this series. He is very talented, a lot of quick decision making, really spices up the game a lot. But the coach has opted for the more traditional setup. So yeah, McDermott 21. I do think that he will be a great finisher for the Wallabies coming off the bench. Jack Van Povier gets dropped to number 21 For England, Lenny Kitao comes in number 22. He comes back from a bit of an injury, calf injury, so he's good to go. Good to see him getting back easily into the Test rugby. Will Joseph potentially making debut for England, number 22. Finally, the man that I'm most excited to see out of this game, Suryasi Vinavalu, absolutely devastating ball carrier, ball runner for the Reds. He was going to debut last year, but he got injured just before he could do so. He was selected for the Wallabies. And so, yeah, we waited. Finally, we're going to see him debut. And I can't wait to see this guy, see how he goes in international Test rugby. And, yeah, this would be very, very exciting. Henry Arundel gets another opportunity on the bench. He scored a try, first time he touched the ball. And he did not score a try again in the second test last week. So, yeah, beginner's luck for sure, but he is very, very dangerous coming off the bench for England. And that's the lineup, guys. I do think the Wallabies reserves is a lot better than the England. So Wallabies depth is a lot better with Tate Mcdermott. A lot of these players from the Wallaby team I had initially picked for my starting team anyway. So I actually feel like the Wallabies has a pretty big advantage here over the England side. The England reserves are not very flashy. Like Nick Isavec, he's not that great. He was be in and out of favor for England. We have obviously the new players. Will Joseph is new, and the England 4-pack as well. Ollie Chesham, Lewis Ludham, both quite, not the premier setup that England would like. And I do feel like the Wallabies reserves are much better players like Harry Wilson. I wanted him to start for the Wallabies anyway, so to see him in finally getting a start is kind of like, I kind of like feel like this is he deserved it, like a spot here. He's already good enough for this, so I don't feel like there's any loss with him being in the team at 6th spot. And yeah, Nick Frost, the Brumbies lock. Brumbies has pretty good season, so again, I'm not really worried about him. And number 4, Jem Slipper, the veteran, really no issues there. So yeah, really the England, injuries really makes England backs the loose forwards and the second rowers look a little bit thin. And I just don't know that that's going to secure what England needs up front. And the back line as well. Yeah, I do think that Rhys Hodge, he has that talent. He just needs to be polished up his game a little bit. And I think he's definitely going to bring something that's much better than what he's done all season. So I give the edge to Australia this. I think the Aussies will win. Score. I think Australia will win 31 points to 17. Yeah, that's my prediction. 31 points to 17. Australia will pull away in the second half. And let me know your thoughts. Let me know your predictions. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I do appreciate you clicking on it. It means a lot to me. And, let me know comments down below, your predictions, yada, yada, yada. And have a good weekend. I'll see you in the reviews. Cheers.